ABC. It is Old Metal Rocker 66 here. Been a while since I've done a video. I haven't really gotten a whole lot of stuff. Just been listening to a lot of stuff. Was kind of in a music funk for about a couple weeks where I really didn't want to play anything. I go through that maybe once a year. I'm sure some of you guys out there do that, and gals. But anyway, I got my funk back. But what I'm going to show you are what I've been playing probably the last few weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But like I say, I haven't gotten a lot of stuff in lately. This week should be a whole different story. I got a whole bunch of stuff coming in here. A lot of new stuff, some old stuff. But anyway, we're going to do a what's been spinning. So anyway, we're going to start off with some Derringer with Sweet Evil. I just played this yesterday in honor of Rick Derringer, who passed away, I think, 3 days ago. Great album. This has Vinny Appice on here. God, of course, Rick Derringer. And I'm trying to think of, I think it's Aronson. Kenny Aronson. So, anyway, my favorite Derringer album, especially Sweet Evil. Classic, great tune. So, Derringer. And then I had to go back old school with some Ian Hunter with the self-titled album. Of course, if you're not familiar, Ian Hunter was in Mott the Hoople for many years and went on a solo. To me, this is his best solo, I think. There are others out there, but this has Once Bitten Twice Shy on here. The original version, whereas Great White does a version that's just as good, but I prefer the old version, but I like the version, one line in there that Great White does. I can't think of it. Anyway, Ian Hunter from 75. That's Dream Evil was from 80, I believe. And then a band called Be Away and Schizoid come out in 1977. It's kind of a mix of some progressive rock, some hard rock, maybe slight funk in there, but not a whole lot. It's more progressive in nature, more progressive rock, but yeah, great album. And then I picked up this one here a couple of weeks back. This is a band called Zyore. And this album right now, originals are really expensive. I bought this. This is a reissue. I bought this over at Rockadrome a couple weeks ago. They always cater a lot of old stuff. This is a reissue, so I paid, what was it, 28 bucks. Originals go in excess of up to 100 and higher. Just some killer stuff. Kind of has some Pink Floyd in there. What else here? Some Hawkwind. Maybe a little Led Zeppelin-ish at times. But more progressive. Yeah, killer stuff. I think this came out in originally in 71. So, very old. Killer stuff. Kind of a cult metal classic. Underground classic, I should say. And then I had to bring out some Joe Perry with Let the Music Do the Talking. I mean, this album is high up on my list of all-time favorites. Of course, it has title track, Let the Music Do the Talking. It has The Smoke is Rising. Fantastic song. I just love it. But yeah, this has been playing as well. This came out in 75, I believe, as well, if I'm not mistaken. But 1980, excuse me, I was way off. Anyway, I think there's 3 Joe Perrys. I have the other one too. The second one, I should say. And today I played some sweet Give Us a Wink alternative mixes and demos. if you listen to side A on this, Andy Scott talks about the making of this album in Germany, and where they initially wanted to make it a heavy metal album. If you have this, it's the first track on the first side, which says Andy Scott talking, "Give us a wink," and it is a heavy album for its time. I think originally this came out, what, I want to say 73 maybe? 74? But yeah, this is really a good album. And then I had to pull out some old classic self-titled Trooper, the heaviest, in my opinion, of all the Trooper albums. They all have their different flair to them. But to me, this is where they shine the best on here. I mean, if you listen to All of the Time, which is a 7-minute track on here, about halfway through there, it has some killer guitar solo in there, and it has unbelievable bass lines that follow along with that guitar solo, which kind of epitomizes how good this album is. But yeah, this came on, I think this was 75 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 75, but best one. Now we're going to get into more newer stuff. Pulled this out today. I haven't heard this in years, and it was the only one they put out. I wish they would have put out another one. These were members of death metal bands, I think black metal bands. Four guys got together and formed the Dagger. This came out in, what was it, 2014. So it's 11 years old. And it's kind of it has some 70s influence. It has some heavy metal influences, some new wave of traditional heavy metal influences. If you go and listen to the track 1978, it's a song about album covers that albums that came out in 1978 from early heavy metal bands, hard rock bands, and I'm not sure the number of album titles I can remember in the song. I think there's over 25 titles in the song. I could be wrong, but I know at least there's over 20. You really got to listen to the song in order to hear every album title from all these bands. It could be Judas Priest, AC/DC, Kiss, or whatever, you know. But anyway, the Dagger, that came out on Century Media. And then I picked up these Titan Force albums a number of years back, released through High Roller. This one originally came out in 1991, Win or Loser. Of course, this has Harry Conklin on vocals, who went on and they formed Jag Panzer. Definitely hear Harry's vocals in this all over the place. Definitely Jag Panzer, I shouldn't say Jag Panzerish, but it was a sign of what was to come with Jag Panzer after Titan Force. But this came out 91, and it was re-released in, I think, 2022 on High Roller. And then some killer thrash, old school thrash, raw thrash, in your face thrash from Warfield with the Old Breed. Definitely maybe Venomish at times, early Venomish vocally. Definitely aggressive thrash, you know, but killer stuff. Guys are out, I think they're out of Poland. Just came out here a couple months back. And I had this for a while, and I haven't heard this for a long time. Some Moonbow with Warbear, some kind of stonerish hard rock. Not really doom, but definitely has that stoner edge to it. I think this was put out by Ripple Music, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Ripple Music came out in 2017. If you're familiar with Ripple, they cater to bands like this, stoner, doomish. But yeah, that's pretty good. And then I had to, haven't heard this in a long time. Some Ruthless, They Rise. Killer album. Love the cover. And put out by Pure Steel. Trying to think of what year this came out. I don't think it was like 20... I'm not going to find it, but anyway, it was put out by Pure Steel a number of years back, maybe 10 years ago maybe, but killer heavy metal, old school, good stuff. A number of years ago, Creator came out with that box set that included their first album they ever did, but not under the Creator name, but under the Tormentor name. And I think at the time the only way to get it was through the box set. Well, they've now been released as single albums and not part of the box set. So I picked up this Tormentor over at Rockadrome, and The End of the World Tormentor pre-Creator. Very raw, 4 tracks, kind of an EP of sorts, but it was a sign of what was to come from the mighty Creator out of Germany. You know, good stuff here. Definitely glad to have this. And then the brand new second album. No, definitely no sophomore slump here. This is high up on my list so far of albums. This is Misfire, the Product of the Environment. This thing just rips you a new ass. That's how good this thing is. It does not let up from side 1 to side 2, beginning to end. This thing just absolutely crushes. It's put out by MRNK Records. I think they're out of Chicago. Since I have this, I went and ordered the first one, and I heard that is just as equally as good. But, you know, hopefully it'll be here this week. But, yeah, definitely hype. I'm in my top 5 so far. Then I picked up I think it was over at Discogs. I was looking for this band's material. This is their debut album, actually. Band called Leatherhead. Straightforward heavy metal. They're on the No Remorse Records label. Came out in 2024, so if I had gotten it probably last year, it would have made my list. This is how good it is. Definitely killer heavy metal, traditionally sounding. Their first album, check them out. I think they're out of Greece. I haven't heard this in a long time. And I remember picking this up when it first came out. And I picked up Redemption Long Night Journey today. I do like this. And it's not one of my favorites from Redemption, but definitely this is a double album set. This one came out, what was it, 2018 on Metal Blade Records. I think Redemption has a new one coming out, but still a good album. Not one of my favorites from Redemption, but still nonetheless a good album. Tell you, yeah, live up in west central Minnesota on the North Dakota-Minnesota border, 13 miles north of the South Dakota border. Anyway, huge fires up in Canada, up in Winnipeg, or the province of Manitoba. Actually, there's tons of fires up there. And all that smoke has been drifting down into my neck of the woods, and we're like 200 miles from the Canadian border. And it's just like, it's so thick out there, it's like fog at times. But anyway, yeah, it's been like that for the last few days. Every summer we get all the smoke from Canada coming down our way. So LA doesn't have a thing on us as far as smog is concerned. We have the smoke and it's worse. Anyway, back to it. Booze Control. These guys have a new album coming out. This is Forgotten Land. Straightforward heavy metal out of Germany. I think they're on the Gates of Hell label. This one came out, what was it, 2018, I think? Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's not going to say, but anyway. Killer stuff. These guys are out of Germany as well, you know, I mean, tons of bands coming out of Germany, but again, Booze Control. I think they have three full length, 4 full lengths. I could be wrong. Anybody knows, let me know. And then some more thrash from Dust Bolt, kind of more of a more modernish sounding thrash in my opinion. This is Trapped in Chaos. I believe these guys also have a new album coming out. This one, let's see, this one came out 2018 on Napalm Records. But yeah, killer band, check them out. And then I wanted to listen to some early Exciter, and I pulled out some early Exciter. I pulled out Violence and Force. This is an OG from 1984 on the Mega Force label, which is you can see the inner ring there, and of course the back. Plays great, sounds great. From 84. Speed metal. And this one here is a reissue from 2004. See, what was it? It was also through Megaforce Records. But this cover is a little bit lighter over this one, which is the OG here. So you can see it's lighter. And of course the backs are different too. This one here doesn't have the band. Well, it does have the band on there, but totally different. Colored vinyl, gray vinyl, sounds about the same. But man, I forgot how good that album was. Originally came out, like I said, in 84. Then I wanted to play some Australian thrash from Mashiach and Alliance of Thieves, I should say. Thrash metal, maybe more progressive thrash metal at times. Maybe has a modern thrash vibe to it at times, but it still has some of that old thrash feel about it yet. I think this is their second album, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have 3 out. But yeah, good stuff. This one came out, what was it? Let's see here. It came out on Mascot label in 2016, so coming up on 10 years. One of the early ones. I prefer the first one. And then I hadn't heard this in a long time. Band out of Austria, a thrash band. Some Death Storm and Storming with Menace. This is a 4-album or a 4-song EP, 3-piece, in your face, raw, old school thrash, venomish at times, maybe vocally, but killer stuff. Death Storm, that was their EP. And then I played As Death Awakes, their full length. and they have quite a, not a real large catalog, but they got a nice extensive catalog. 4 or 5 releases. This one is on I Hate Records, as was the previous one. This came out in 2012. So that one previously came out like 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Killer Thrash from Austria. And I've been following this band for a couple years now. Band out of Texas. A great thrash band. I think they're more thrash orientated now rather than when they first started. I think they had more of a punk thrash vibe going on. I think they still have that in some of their lyrics and vocals, but I think this is a real solid release from Overt Enemy. Inception, Possession. This is autographed by the band. They shipped it out, and I don't know if you can see that crease right there. Well, that was bent when they packed it in a album mailer. They bent it, and it's not a full album cover. It's a J card basically, and but I got a hold of the band, and they actually gave me a set list too, so which is pretty cool. Signed it. They were at Thunder in the Hill Country, Bandera, Texas. If Carcass John sees this, maybe he'll know where it's at. But anyway, I got a hold of the band, and I told them what had happened. I said, it looks like it was bent to fit in the mailer. To me, that's the only reason. The mailer is just a bit too small. So anyway, he said, oh man, he said, I thought I packed it good. I thought it was right. He said, I'll send you out. I said, I don't need the album. I just need a new J card. And he said, I'll send you out a new one here next week. So that's what I love about bands and supporting them, you know. I got this directly from the band. And but you buy from them, they treat you right. In return, you know, if you have damage, they will usually help you out. And I've had quite a lot of bands where I've received damaged merchandise and they've replaced it. So very cool. There are some bands that refuse, but anyway, over at Anyhow, Texas. This is the 5th release from these guys out of, I believe, Puerto Rico. Chemicide and Violence Prevails. It's the only album they have on vinyl. I would hope they would do the other 4 and put them on vinyl eventually. This is on Listenable Records, of course. This is part of Marta Gabriel and her husband's label. So, Killer Thrash, straightforward thrash. Came out this year. Some new wave of traditional heavy metal. This, I believe, was the last album from these guys. It could be, no, I think it is. Toledo Steel, Heading for Tomorrow, a new wave of traditional heavy metal. This came out a few years back in 2022, so Dissonance Records. But I believe this was their, I don't think they have anything new coming out, or maybe they're in the studios. I haven't heard anything or read anything lately, but good stuff. A band that very few people know about, maybe they only did demos. I think they did a couple of demos on cassette, and actually there's 2 bands. Each band had, I think they had 4 songs. Yeah, each band had 4 songs. This is kind of a split album. I got this over at, I think it was Shadow Kingdom Records. I believe I found this one. But this is a split from Morgoth and Satan's Arrival. The demos. Very, very raw sounding, you know. As you can see from 86 and 84. From Evidence of Power from Morgoth and Satan's Arrival. Just the demo. 3 songs from them. 7 total. I got this a number of years back. Not sure when this came out. 2021. So, but I think it was over at Shadow Kingdom I picked this up. Good stuff. And some female thrash. It says these guys are still active, but I haven't heard a peep from these guys in a while. It's has a female fronted vocalist thrash band from Mortillery, and this is Shapeshifter. This is the absolute best style I like when women are singing it. That or traditional heavy metal. This is thrash. As long as it doesn't get really guttural, I mean really where you can't hear it. I mean, some of it's okay, but this is very listenable, understandable. This came out, God, I want to say a few years back, probably 10 years ago. Yeah, almost 10 years now, 2016. I think they're together, but I'm not positive. Killer Thrash and another thrash band, also fronted with a female. These guys, I believe, are out of Sweden. 3-piece Extermination Has Begun from Tyrannics. Again, just great vocals, thrash vocals. I mean, killer stuff. That's on Journey's End record. They have 3 albums out. I have 2 on vinyl. And I think I have 3 total on CD. But Killer Thrash, another 3-piece. Check them out. And an album that definitely made my top 25. Especially this year has been just the year of thrash, in my opinion. That and female fronted bands, traditional styling sounds are ruling this year, in my opinion. But there's a lot of good stuff out there in other genres as well, man. I mean, but that's what I prefer. Anyway, Destruction. Birth of Malice. So good. This came out this year. I love Destruction. I still need to get the early stuff. Hard to find. I don't ever come by it. And it is pricey. But eventually I'll get some of the first early albums. But anyway, Destruction, guys. So, any comments, leave below. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.